Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast, the recap of Stage 6 of the Tour de France from Pau to Gavagny-Gèdre, 186.2 kilometers, a valley finish climb. We have the Tourmalet-Aspin combo in the middle, 100 Ks of break formation, flat or hilly terrain beforehand. And so the Aspin, 12K, 6.5% descent, and then the Tourmalet is a 43 to 45 minute climb, 17 Ks. The last 13 Ks average 8.5%. Goes up to 2,100 meters. Then there's a long descent, and then we do this 19K, 3.5% sort of horrible valley up to about 1,400 meters. It's a very similar design to the Col Touré stage, but it's longer, and that valley at the end is also longer. It's also similar to Stage 4 when they passed the Galibier in Stage 4 of the Tour de France 2024 when they had to cross from Italy into the Alps. So this is a typical stage ASO uses when they don't want to kill the race, but they need to pass through the Pyrenees or the Alps early in the race. So what they do is they put an iconic climb, but they put it far from the finish with the idea that you'll see some action and not kill the race.
That's not really how cycling works in 2026. We'll talk about it once we get to the actual result of the stage.
But that is the logic of this stage design, right?
Yep, I think that's fair, but I've always been a fan of the second last climb being the big climb and the last climb being the easier one, because that is the kind of stages where you've got the memorable early attacks in the sport of cycling, whether it's Vincenzo Nibali back in the day. I don't even know what climb I'm thinking of, but that's one I would put in my head for sure. He always had like a Scarponi breakaway companion or Tiralongo in the breakaway as satellite rider to attack towards that and then descend towards them. But okay, enough Nibali love. It's time to go to the actual race, Patrick. And I want to start off with break formation, where there's an intermediate sprint in the stage. And the intermediate sprint is after that hill.
Yes, sorry, there's two hills. And yes, there's a 5-minute hill just before an intermediate sprint after an hour of racing.
With that being the case, Mess Pedersen wants that.
Yep.
Philipsen wants that. Biniam wants that. And we get into that directly from the get-go. Victor Kampenaerts, Mess Pedersen, and Huub Arts is a 3-man breakaway up the road. I look at those three teams in Victor Kampenaerts from Visma. Visma wants to get a satellite rider, and this breakaway is my take to try and get over the Tourmalet with a rider ahead. That is the vibe I get there, because it's not just a satellite rider to attack towards, but if you've got a satellite rider over that climb as defensive satellite rider, it means that the gap towards any attacking Tadej Pogačar would be smaller than if you don't have that satellite rider. Mess Pedersen is there for the green jersey. Huub Arts is there for the vibes and for fighting with UCI, but we'll get there in a second. Between Pedersen, Philipsen, and Biniam, what was the response of Alpecin and NSN?
They just start full pacing and controlling the peloton. And I don't know if I think they were initially trying to bring Pedersen back, but then I think they then defaulted to, if they control, they can stop a break going, and then the points difference between Pedersen and them will be less because there's only two riders in between. The problem with that was that there's this hill beforehand where Philipsen and Binny might get dropped. I can't remember what happened on that hill. I think they might have survived it. This episode is brought to you by Wahoo, trusted by some Tour de France champions, which we'll get to in a second.
Me?
You're not a Tour de France champion. It is trusted by you. I also have Wahoo everywhere, but I'm not doing the read yet.
Too early.
Yeah. Benji tried to trigger me into doing the read. I'll do it later. That hill, I thought, this was actually perfect for UAE. For the first hour, UAE don't have to break the wind.
Yep.
They have Alpecin controlling a break going nowhere. Pedersen's going to stop after the intermediate sprint. Huub Arts gets stopped by the UCI. And it's just Kampenaerts out there dangling. And UAE don't even have to control it. So perfect for UAE. It's almost like, it was a sort of representation fallacy. But let's get to Huub Arts. So he's in the break. We have Pedersen monstering. He's so fast on the flat. And then two aero boys. So Kampenaerts and Arts, they're aero boys in breakaways. Arts, then we see him talking to the car. We see many close-up shots.
Commissaire car.
Yeah, but first, we have side-on shots from the cameras, and I'm already thinking someone might not like that position. But they might not care. I don't know. The problem is he's on a Tour de France breakaway, and you can really see it.
So the position we're talking about is you've got your your brake levers that you're holding, and in doing so, you're resting on your handlebars with your forearms. And there are rules about this. UCR Article 2.2025, very, very specific, Patrick, says that riders must observe the standard position as defined in a different article, basically. Sitting on the bicycle top tube is prohibited. This was the old descending, super tuck that they banned. Furthermore, using the forearms as a point of support on the handlebars is prohibited except in time trials. Now, just to portray that for a second, the reality is, in every single race day, there are at least 25 to 50 riders, maybe most of the peloton, that rest on their handlebars with their forearms at any point during the race. So, because of that, the UCI has then sent a PowerPoint to the riders to specify which specific positions while you're resting with your forearms on your handlebars that are allowed versus not allowed, to the point that it's starting to get very confusing when you're doing something wrong or doing something correct. And I swear we've had this discussion numerous times this year already. Some riders get disqualified for it. Some riders get a yellow card. Some riders don't get anything of a penalty. Some riders get a warning. That refereeing is so inconsistent.
As long as you win the race afterwards, you're gravy.
Or if you're a top rider.
Because Segat won Denain and then got pinged for it afterwards.
Yeah, you got a yellow card afterwards. Yeah. But I've seen Jonas do it. I've seen Tadej do it. Remco do it. Every single top rider has done this position that Huub Arts is based on today's stage being scolded for. Or was it for a position where he held his handlebars like this, Patrick? How do you describe this?
The claw.
The claw.
Yeah, so he's like, the problem is the lack of control over the levers. I think they did him not on the forearms as a point of support. Yeah. It was on his hand position, not being in control of his levers.
Where is that rule? That does not exist.
You're allowed to ride with no hands.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Are you not allowed to ride your bicycle with no hands?
The reason this rule was brought in was because riders were leaning on the middle of their handlebars in the middle of groups sometimes. Like Amador, I think, was the instigator of this rule being implemented.
That's puppy paws.
Yeah, that's the puppy paws. The thing Cancellara did back in the day. Yeah. He was the renowned rider to do so. They made the rule so vague that they're over-applying it, in my opinion. But I do not see any rule in the UCI rulebook that prevents Mr. Huub Arts from holding his handlebars with his two hands next to his stem, because his forearms aren't resting on anything.
Lack of control over the levers.
I want to see the rule.
Yeah, I mean,
I can subjectively say that a rider doesn't have control when he's celebrating.
I agree. I agree with you. I think the problem is the riders don't know. The problem is we're watching the Tour de France. No one knows what's going on.
Yes.
So the commentators are texting each other. They're texting like Roy McEwen is texting into the studio. They say, what's going on? What rules he broken? Is this position? No one knows. The riders themselves are seeking clarification.
And continuous clarification. Like, it's happened numerous times to the point that I've spoken to sports directors and riders that are scared to speak up about the unclarity of this rule and the application of it being inconsistent, to the point that they're scared of retaliatory reactions by the UCI on them if they speak up, which that's a crazy second pot of worms. But the weird thing to me was Huub Arts, after getting scolded the first time, goes back to that 3-man group, starts relaying again, and later goes back to the car and then waits on the peloton. And I thought, okay, he's disqualified.
Everyone then thought he was disqualified, and we're like, whoa, that is really harsh. If he's been DSQ'd for just a warning. What ended up happening apparently was he got a warning for it, and he was like, fuck it, I'm off it. And he was like, I'm just going back and I'm off it. Like, this break, he's like, I don't even want to be here in the first place. Like, it's not particularly pleasant being out here in a 3-man break with Albertson and NSN chasing me full gas.
Like, what's the point?
He's like, I'm off it. If this is going to be how it is, I'm gone. And also, he's like, it's his riding position, so he's probably inadvertently going to do it again. And he's like, and then I'm going to be on camera, and then they're going to DSQ me. So I'm just going to go back in the peloton and live to fight another day. But yeah, for a moment, everyone was like, is he DSQ'd? Like, that's
even without the DSQ, I think it's a clown show. I think it's so inconsistently applied. I've literally got a folder on my desktop with 50 screenshots of riders doing it that didn't get a penalty, to the point that I'm sorry, you can't have a rule that is so inconsistent and so confusing for the riders the UCI needs to change something about it. Otherwise, we're going to have this stupid game until someone does get disqualified and Patrick's microphone is starting to fight him, and I think he might lose.
I've readjusted 5 times. The axis is struggling in the heat. I've now tried to rip the cord out of it anyway. We persevere. Now there's 2 in the breakaway, Campenaerts and Pedersen. Pedersen's going to stop after the IS. He does honorably pull afterwards. But at the category 4, we have Chaos. So it's a 4-minute punchy climb. Remco apparently goes to have a bathroom break just before then. Ayuso was fetching bidons just before then. And Ineos do a full team lead out to launch because the gap was only like 30, 40 seconds at that point. They do a full team lead out across. Jorgensen attacks. And we see very clearly UAE's plan for the day. UAE have like 2 guys. So they follow Jorgensen with 1. And then another guy then paces the split back. So UAE also weren't happy having their own satellite rider. They just, they pace. So they have like Vellens marks Jorgensen, and then Gross-Schartner pulls back whatever split Jorgensen is in. Campenaerts tried to create a split, and then he does create a split. He creates it over the top of that hill, and all the GC guys are in except Remco.
Yes, I do think we forgot to mention the intermediate sprint. Or have we? Well, actually, we've not gotten there, right?
No. This is before the IS.
About that specific event you just mentioned, I think I want to clarify what the strategies are here. To me, it was clear going into stage, UAE Team Emirates wants to try to put their first major mark on this race. I know that Machin said the other day that, Jonas is going to try and attack on the Tourmalet. Everybody saw through the plan of Tadej Pogačar. He wanted to take as much time today because the parkour is there for it. If he gets any gap over the top of the Tourmalet, he can extend that gap in the downhill and on the last climb because the absolute watts of Jonas Vingegaard, because he's a lighter rider, are simply lower. And because of the fact that his threshold is also lower to begin with, but that's a different story. Now, when it comes to Visma Lease bike side, just like I said at the start with Campenaerts, they want to get someone over the top of that Tourmalet into the breakaway, and that is what UAE wants to prevent, because if UAE and Visma have a rider in the breakaway, then it's still going to be a lower time gain for a potential Pogačar attack than if there's no one in the breakaway, right? If they both have a rider in the breakaway, it's less ideal than no riders for UAE.
Exactly, because like Gross-Schartner, let's say.
Or McNulty. Like they might help Pog, but also Pog goes fast himself. Whereas an Armirail or a Jorgensen for Vingegaard, that makes a bigger difference for him. Yeah.
They were blocking it. There's a split. Remco's on the wrong side of that split. He has to get brought back. His whole team waits. But the IS, somehow Pedersen survives. And somehow, for NSN and Alpecin, they get sort of the outcome they wanted. Pedersen wins the intermediate sprint. Canter wins it again from the peloton. There's no break formed behind. And then break formation just continues. Visma try again. Ineos, EF, everybody keeps trying. Foss goes on. There's another hill. But now we're like we're now 25 k's from the base of our spa. Everyone gives up. UAE have blocked the break forming. O'Connor goes, but it's not happening. And UAE start to pace with Vermeersch. There's going to be no breakaway. And if you don't know, maybe they have the segment right there. If you're watching the Tour de France, you'll see UAE Team Emirates have the Wahoo head units on their bikes. Wahoo's used by some of the biggest teams in the race, powering the sport at every level. You can use their products, of course, too. And on race day, you'll see those Element bike computers, speed plate pedals are used, and the heart rate monitors as well, which I've been using for like 10 years. I've always been using first the ticker. And,
Mate, if you wore it during the last 50 kilometers of the stage, 170 heart rate for sure.
What is your maximum heart rate?
I think like 189. I've got a pretty low max heart rate.
189. Mine's like 205 on a good day. I used to use the ticker all the time because it was like by far the best price value ratio, and I like the strap. But now it's the tracker heart rate. But I'm just showing you, I've been using Wahoo products, especially the bike computers. I find a lot more accessible and easy to use.
The trainer is king.
Obviously, the Kicker trainers have been dominating the market for a reason for years. And that's what makes Wahoo different. It's not just a collection of products, it's a complete training and racing ecosystem that helps you understand your fitness, train smarter, and close the gap to your goals. Whether you're just getting into cycling or chasing your next PB, you can train with the same platform used by Mr. Pogačar in the race today. So head to wahoofitness.com and see what Wahoo can do for your riding. Okay, no break, Vermeersch pulling, and we all know what's going to happen. Aspin is going to be Pollitt, Vellens. They're going to 6.5%, 30 minutes. They're going to ride full, and then they're going to do the descent, and then UAE are going to control the Tourmalet, and they're going to launch Pog. Because you don't behave in this fashion if you're being defensive. If you're UAE.
Of course, if you're UAE, you look at the stage and you want to try and gain more than a minute on Jonas Vingegaard.
Yeah.
If your plan works, obviously. But that Ben O'Connor breakaway was the only real breakaway we had, a one-man breakaway. But like you said, Vermeersch took care of that in the valley. Then we had, like you said, Pollitt and Wellens doing the tempo on the Col d'Aspin. And I did feel like we had an attack for KOM. Yes, indeed. Valentin Paré-Pancho attacked with like 2 kilometers from the top, which was early. So I was like, why is he attacking so early for KOM? Then Martinez showed when to attack properly, which was a bit about 900 meters to go, bridge to Valentin Paré-Pancho easily. But then once the sprint started, it was Martinez that started too early. In doing so, I think Paré-Pancho took it, but I actually haven't checked. It was super close to the point that I think you need a photo finish for that one. But either way, Tourmalet is coming, Patrick. This is the moment of this stage where we've been looking forward to for about more than 5 days. I've been looking forward to it for months, to be honest. And Tim Wellens is the one starting at the foot of the climb. Then Grosschartner takes over with about 12 kilometers to go. And then the first people start dropping. Riccitello, Jorgensen, Tran, Thoughts.
Yeah, it's obviously a strong pace from UAE. And it's not like they're doing a progressive pacing. They're just winding it up gradually. They didn't do some crazy lead out from the bottom. They're going to use their rider cycle through them one by one. They've still got McNulty after Grosschartner. They've still got Yates. They've still got Del Toro. They've got the most numbers. I'd say Prudhomme was really, really good for Sykes-Sass. Prudhomme surprised me. He brings up Sykes-Sass into position. Sykes-Sass was sitting really deep for a long time on this stage. And then he brings him up, and we have Remco, Sykes-Sass, Jonas all hovering around Pogačar's wheel. And we know what's going to happen. UAE start to wind it up. Del Toro, he looked like he was suffering a lot. He was pouring bidons over him, like speeding he looked like he was suffering big time at about 5Ks to go.
More water was dripping out of his mouth than an average dog in the last 2 kilometers before the eventual attack. But I really expected on a stage like this that we'd have like one GC rider, a proper GC rider for top 5, to drop out completely. And yes, Pidcock dropped early, but he wasn't really on that line of riders for me personally going into this race. Jorgensen dropping early is not necessarily a surprise for me, because his only role here was trying to get into a breakaway to get over the Tourmalet to begin with. If we get to the Tourmalet, it has to be Jonas's legs. That's what needs to be good. It's all about surviving for Jonas from that point onwards. But I would say that the attack was coming. Yates' pull was pretty short though. It was probably faster than we view it on TV.
It was hard.
And it already lined up the people, because the moment that Del Toro then goes to the front past Yates and speeds up a little bit, also didn't take too long, because someone decided not to follow the wheel of Pogačar and Del Toro.
So yeah, it was curious. Del Toro starts the really hard lead out. Pogačar immediately checks that Vingegaard is following or not. Vingegaard wasn't following. And then Pogačar, he was trying to tell Del Toro to slow down. Pogačar then takes over, so Del Toro then flicks him. Pogačar then says follow, and then he doesn't attack. He starts to ride also a bit smoother because he wants Del Toro to follow him. And then, but he then drops Del Toro. But yeah, Vingegaard he did something different. He didn't try to follow the acceleration at all, kind of like Libovitz and Goal style. But in this occasion, I'd say it kind of worked, because Del Toro still did the really hard lead out anyway. If he let go and Del Toro had immediately slowed down and then just started pacing progressively, then the gap would have been much, much bigger.
I think the exact comparison, for example, to Otakam last year when Narvaez did a nuclear lead out on that climb. In doing so, Vingegaard was already almost cracking when that lead out was happening. That is what I think Jonas was trying to avoid here, trying to go into that red while the attack was happening so that he could try to crawl it back. And we saw that for a little bit, because initially, once Pogačar was gone and Del Toro was dropping there, the gap stayed 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. I thought, we've got a Tour de France,
Exactly,
Patrick. And then it goes back to 8 seconds, 9 seconds, but it stays around at 10 seconds for a really long time there. And I really think this was a better strategy over Otakam last year, where he tried to desperately follow the move and cracked earlier than he well, spoilers, did on today's stage.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're not, like, 1 second is the gap possible here compared to Haltekam.
What do you mean?
Because of the descent, because there's no satellite rider, because of the valley afterwards, Vingegaard has to be on the wheel of Pogačar over the top of that climb. And also the other problem for Vingegaard here was he has no GC contender with him or close to him. And that's also, so everything went wrong. No satellite rider. Pogačar's not being caught by the top, and
he's better.
Yes, but if Sykes has to stay on 20 seconds, 30 seconds over the descent on top, then it would have probably helped Vingegaard. The reality was there was 2 tiers of rider. Pogačar at the top, 30 seconds, Vingegaard, and then I think it was another
40-ish.
40, 45 seconds to Sykes, Del Toro, and Lipovic.
Yes, Lipovic was like, he never really responds to like a brutal attack in a group. No. He always sets his tempo, and I gotta say, my heart really wants to love Lipovic as a rider. I love the way he rides. The only thing I hate about this man is that he shows up to every interview saying, I'm just a silly domestique. I carry the bottles for this team. What do you mean I'm going for the podium for this Tour de France? After he's already podiumed the Tour de France. I'm exaggerating a bit. That's the one thing that is preventing me from being a massive Florian Lipovic fan.
Yeah, and also it was a bit strange. I don't know what was happening in the valley.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But to be clear, for the rest of this climb, Tadej Pogačar, that gap stays at 10 seconds until it cracks on Jonas' side. And it goes up to 30 seconds then. So the last 2 kilometers, Jonas really started cracking to the top. And that is the end of the story there by the end of the top. But then the gap to the others, we're talking about, like you said, 45 seconds to Sixas group. But then only like 12 seconds to Remco Evenepoel together with Skjelmose, Ayuso, Sepkus. And I don't think Lenny Martinez was there at this point. I think he might have come back in the downhill, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, I don't know where Lenny came from. But the problem is 30 seconds at the top, Vingegaard's going to lose probably 30 seconds on the descent. And
we said it.
Exactly. And then we saw this on Glibier. So we had the same stage in 2024, but without the valley afterwards, where Vingegaard lost a lot of time on the descent. And so, yeah, it was going to be a big, big time loss. But yeah, that was the moment there on Tourmalet. Vingegaard, if he goes, it was sort of hanging in the balance, and he had to get back to the wheel with about 1,800 meters to go, but it went the other direction. So, yeah, what do you think, Benji, about would say he got back to the wheel or say he tried to follow initially the Del Toro lead out? What do you think would have happened?
I think he would have cracked earlier. I don't know if the gap would have been the same or worse. That's impossible to predict. I do like that they tried something else, because it clearly didn't work the other way around last year. So I think I enjoyed seeing Vingegaard try a different strategy to try and crawl it back after not following. It didn't work in the end, but I think that just the baseline reality is we knew it going into this race that Tadej Pogačar would most likely be the best rider on the start line here, and he proves that today. But like you said, we both said it. The second the gap started going from 10 to 20 seconds, we looked at each other in front of the TV and we said, this is going to be a minute 32 minutes. And it might even be more by the time we hit the finish. And I've got a bit of an anecdote by Lenny Martinez about Remco Evenepoel in the downhill, because Martinez said that Evenepoel was shredding it in the downhill and also basically put everybody on a limit on the last portion to the finish.
I think that's true. You saw when any time Remco was pulling, that he was putting the others under pressure. So yeah, basically Pogačar rides away, huge victory. I think the biggest gap he's taken ever in a stage against Vingegaard.
Ooh, I think so. Otakam was 2 minutes, I think. I think this is more.
Yeah, I think this is more.
And if the stage finishes on Tourmalet, you don't have that.
No, but it didn't finish on Tourmalet.
Exactly.
It didn't, and that's why UAE had the strong enough team to control, do what they needed to do. And yeah, he takes 2 minutes 38 on Vingegaard. Vingegaard finishes second, the whole time me and you were discussing, we're like, well, surely it was going to be like Galibier. So what happened on Galibier was Vingegaard got caught by the group really late, but not late, like too late for them to really help close the gap. I thought that was going to happen again. What did you think the motivation should be in this group? I'll set the scene. You've got Ayuso, Skjelmoser, 2 Trek.
Okay.
They want a podium with Ayuso, or one of them, I suppose. Lipovic and Remco, 2 Bora.
They want a podium or P2.
Yeah. Del Toro, Koos, Lenny, Sykes.
Lenny's just happy to be there.
Lenny's happy to be there. Koos is just sitting on.
Del Toro as well.
Del Toro is just sitting on.
Sixas. P3 is also probably going to be happy,
but he's going to
be willing to relay.
And he's got to be careful that he doesn't get countered, though, because there were sometimes these moves going with a Trek and a Bora that he needs to be aware of.
I want to highlight the gap before we continue. At this point, at the start of this valley, the gap was roughly 50 seconds from Jonas to this group behind, because those two groups have come back together in the downhill. So the Remco group and the Lipovic Del Toro group are together like you portrayed. 50 seconds is the gap. I'm going to be completely honest. At this point, I said to you, I think Jonas should wait. Because of that Galibier, I truly believe that by the end of the stage, Jonas would get caught by this group 3 basically on the road. But was their group D3 syndrome, or were they playing for the podium? That's why you set the stakes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking, okay, you either do one of 2 things here. I don't understand what the goal was in the middle here. You either chase Vingegaard to don't let P2 take time on you and keep P2 even.
Yeah.
You either do that. And you just ride full to get Vingegaard back, which they could have done probably.
I think you could have done both.
Or, and to do that, it's easier in a smaller group without the people sitting on, because Del Toro was getting gapped sometimes when there were these splits. Or, who's the biggest competitor who right now for the rest of this race is going to get a free ride with the strongest rider in the race and team helping him to podium?
Isacco Del Toro.
And Isaac was sometimes on gaps in this descent, and I was thinking,
despite being a good descender, so he's clearly cooked at that point.
Yeah, maybe not cooked, but I think if Remco and Ayuso or Remco and Sykes or if they get a gap, it would have been tough for him to bring it back. So
also because he might think, okay, should I pull? Should I not pull?
Exactly. And then it's gone, and then Remco's pulling. So I was expecting them to actually attack Sykes and Del Toro.
So you were more looking at the duplicates, which is like
Trek
Lipovic and Remco to roll attacks there, or little Trek with Ayuso and Skjelmoser. If I'm being completely honest, I think they could have achieved both. I think the gap at a certain point went down to 25 seconds between this group and Jonas with like 17 kilometers to go. 25 to 35 seconds at that point. I'm sorry, but that's a gap that if you relay now for the next 5 kilometers with this group, you're going to catch him with 12 kilometers to go, and you've still got 12 kilometers to roll attacks on each other. I think they could have done both, but that's the reality of Group 3 syndrome. They don't know what the opposing rider is thinking. They think, I need to make sure I save some energy for a counterattack by some other rider. They don't want to put all the effort in. We see Remco going to the front to relay. We see that Ayuso in the wheel skips the turn initially. The next time Ayuso does relay, we've got Lipovic closing a gap towards a 3-man group that includes Remco. In a moment there where you're like, is that the right play? I think there's an element where multi-leader strategies are fun in the head of like rolling attacks 2v1 is fun, but rolling attacks 2v7, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people that follow hypothetically a Lipovic or a Remco, and the other guy then has to see Lipovic right away with Del Toro and Sixal in the wheel, and is like, I don't want that.
I don't think Remco and Lipovic are co-leaders.
You think they're... What do you mean?
Well, they're, like you said, Remco seeing Skjelmoser got the road Lipovic. How's that helping me?
Yeah.
So, and same with Lipovic. Lipovic was closing Remco multiple times, and I was like, what? Let Remco go. Shoot you. But for Lipovic, like, how's it helping me?
I half agree, half don't agree. Because if you let Lipovic go with Sixas and Del Toro...
Not with them. No, with a Trek. I was saying it had to be the duplicates to make Sykes and Del Toro, put them under pressure, take time on. Because Sykes and Del Toro are stronger than Skjelmoser and Ayuso.
Yeah. It's just that I think there is value in keeping your multi-leader strategy for longer than hypothetically today and not playing it out today and playing it out in week 3 instead for the podium. I think there's value there. Trying to keep both of them together with everybody else for the first 2 weeks of this Grand Tour, should, I think, be the goal instead of playing it out on the first mountain stage,
Yeah.
hypothetically.
Problem is, I think UAE now will change the way they ride.
And on the other hand, countering my own tactic, you've got a multi-leader strategy until you don't.
Until you don't, exactly. So, like, it takes one bad day for Ayuso, for Skjelmose, or one mechanical at a wrong time. And
And it's not unlikely with those two riders, a bit less likely when it comes to Red Bull, because I'm actually confident in Remco's level after today.
Exactly. Same with Remco, and also Lipovic is like the model of consistency. So, yeah, Vingegaard 2:38. He finishes 19 seconds ahead of Del Toro, who sprints Remco for third. Remco fourth, Sykes, Lipovic, Ayuso, Skjelmose on 2:57, Lenny on 3:02, Koos 3:06, Bernal must have ridden the whole valley himself, 4:47, Jagat 8:18 with Tejada Van Wilder. So we have, 10th on 3 minutes, 12th on 8 minutes, big gaps in this race. Otterbrooks abandoned. We didn't speak about Torsten Tran. Did you mention he crashed?
We did not yet.
So he's coming into a left-hand hairpin, and he just collects his front wheel against the back wheel of his teammate, Anders Johannesson. Crashes quite hard, and he was already losing yellow, I think, to be honest. He dropped quite early, but...
Still sad.
Still sad. He finishes the stage, but, yeah, he's out of the yellow jersey. Obviously, he finishes on, 30 minutes. And, yeah, Pogačar wins again. He's got, on GC, a gap of 2 minutes 40, I guess. Let me check with Bonies. They were level, weren't they? 2 minutes 42 on Evenepoel, 3 minutes 27 over Del Toro. So UAE are 1-3. That's what I'm saying. Del Toro,
we said it at the start.
That's what I was saying. You should.
Well,
I think that was a big opportunity to take 20 seconds on Del Toro. And I think.
Oh, yeah. That, you mean?
Yes. And this UAE are happy with this how it is.
Of course.
They're happy with this how it is. And I think, but that means.
No shit, Sherlock. Thought he took 2 minutes 38 and Del Toro beat everybody else.
But I think in a closed race where Pogačar's bossing it, controlling what he wants to happen, where Del Toro is not under pressure, where he has the explosivity, I think it's going to be harder in the future maybe to take time on him if you're the others. So yeah, Evenepoel 3 minutes 30, he's 3 seconds behind Del Toro. Ayuso 3:34, Sykes 3:55, Lipovic 4 minutes, Lenny 4:21, Skjelmose 4:57, Matthias Vacek still in the top 10 on 7 minutes 10.
Really, despite dropping early, actually.
Yeah, he lost only 11 minutes.
That he dropped very early on.
Yeah, but the last valley he can motor.
Yeah. True.
So, yeah, I think the podium is pretty open still.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the third, it's very, very tight. Vingegaard has 40 seconds or so, 45 seconds on Del Toro. I guess what more is there to say? I mean, this is kind of what we expected to happen.
Yep. That is the case. Going into this race, I expected Tadej Pogačar to be the favorite. I expected Tadej to take time on the stage, and if you've got a 5 to 10 second gap over the top, it was a 30-second gap. You're going to expand that to more than a minute at least. It's 2 minutes 38. It's bigger than I expected it to be, for sure. I was expecting a 1 minute gap at the end of the finish, 1:30.
1 minute to 1:30, you can sort of say, all right, it's still on.
That said, I've said it before this race even began, I'm the kind of person that I don't really care who wins a race. I couldn't care less. I'm indifferent about a Pogačar or a Vingegaard. I enjoy them for the people they are. I just want a close race, and 2 minutes 38 on the first mountain stage doesn't exactly fit my pleasure in that, personally. But I hope we've got some fun fights for the podium that can make up for that towards the third week, because that's a bit of a downside for me personally. Now, I am loving the fight for the podium. I think Martinez for KOM, he's almost too good for KOM. The way he climbed today.
He's top 10 in GC right now. I don't think they're going to give that away. Bahrain, old school team. I think he's going to... Yeah, I think he's going to... He's not allowed in the break. Yep. He's straight up... You're not allowed in the break on that time gap. So he has to go for GC now. Carapaz is 10 minutes 46. He can go on the breaks. I think it's Carapaz against Pog. Because Carapaz is also climbing well enough. He can take that. But yeah, UAE looking good. Exhibition from them today. Vellens, Pollitt, Grosjean, McNulty, Yates, they all performed. and they delivered Pogačar. They did what they had to do at the start, which was no one in the valley. There was no breakaway today.
I do want to highlight, I've highlighted Martinez. I need to highlight Skelmos. The way he rode today, that is the best climbing performance I've seen in... I can't even think of a climbing performance in the high mountains on this level of Skelmos ever before. Because when it comes to the Tourmalet, I think they broke the record by like 2 minutes 45 or something, but even the group with Sepp Kuss beat that time. So it's a much higher level than it was in the 2023 Tour de France, and Skelmos definitely performed way better than I expected, that's for sure. And I'm glad the rest was close to each other, and also for the white jersey especially. Del Toro, Ayuso, Success, even Martinez is in the picture.
Exactly. So I think for Del Toro, it's good that Pogačar took such a big gap because, as I said, I think that's going to be the big goal to have 2 on the podium and definitely him defending the white jersey. Points jersey, I think Mads. I don't have the results because the sprinters haven't finished. Try to refresh this. No, I don't have it. Little Trekker winning teams classification by half an hour. Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, since the breakaway stage.
Oh, true.
Because 3 of them took 12 minutes.
Took 12 minutes. Oh, that's genius.
The way it works, it's your 3 best riders, right, per day. So hypothetically, if I've got 3 riders today in the breakaway, we gain that time on the other teams. It's on a per day basis, right? It's not on GC.
Per day, it's not GC. It can rotate. It can be 3 different guys every day. I actually like teams classification.
I don't care about the result, but I enjoy the battle for it. If there was like a race, yeah, I just enjoy it, but I don't necessarily give it credit after the end of the race, personally.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a consolation prize.
So I think ASO backloaded the route because they wanted a battle late into the race, also because the FIFA World Cup's on at the moment, which is obviously detracting from interest in the race. I'm not sure they designed the best stage for that. Because before the stage, me and you, it's like, and also the pod listeners, they know as well. They've watched a million races. They've listened to this.
Nah, enough glazing to them. We can't give them too much praise. Come on.
When all the pod listeners are not thinking, yeah, it's going to be like a group of 15 rolling over the top of Tourmalet. Sorry, we're not in 2015 anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're not in 2020 anymore. It's going to be full gas. UAE try to kill the race. They've been doing it since 2024 Pla d'Ardèche, 2020 whatever, 5 last year. They killed the race on the first mountain stage. That's what they try to do.
I want to give some credit. Roof is once again doing our points classification for our predictions throughout this Tour de France, and I don't want to be that guy that gives his own medal, but I think I'm on 100 points and you're on 84, Patrick. What do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, because I tried to pick Del Toro for
wait, about that.
To be contrarian.
On the route release, the week before and the day before, you all picked Del Toro for each of the 3. You were consistent.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, just to be, because I was like, because I knew if it's Pog, we got a big problem with the time gap. So, you know.
You were coping.
Yeah, I mean, you picked the favorite, so I'm not going to have you glaze yourself where you picked the favorite. So yeah, win is win, I guess. So
when's the dinosaur suit coming out for the Giro victory?
Fucking heat wave ends. It is so hot. Luke says tomorrow. Tomorrow's a sprint stage. Yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to do what's the routine tomorrow? Pump up the T-Rex suit, and we're going to watch Sheep Detective.
Yeah, we're going to watch Sheep Detective. We're going to do a review of it. A proper review.
How many people how many people would actually listen to us doing a movie review not on the same feed? We respect the listeners. 500 listens on the first movie review.
5,000 easy.
5,000
easily.
Doing
yes
on a separate podcast.
We could talk about putting for an entire podcast, and these people would listen.
Doing a Sheep Detective review.
Yeah.
Who's your man that does? He does. There's an English guy that does pudding reviews. Oh, his Instagram account.
That was a joke, by the way.
Good. His Instagram account's so good. Is it Sticky Pudding? Sticky Date Pudding, I think a guy has an Instagram account that does them.
I generally think at least 5K people listen to a movie review of ours.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
No, well, we're going to see.
You're telling me people care more about the Tour de Romandie than they do about a movie review of Sheep Detective?
Like, do you speak to animals?
See, Sheep Detective was goated in the chat directly.
Sheep Detective was sheeped. I speak to animals pretty often.
Yeah, to my cats I speak.
Yeah, like in the wild, I'll always like speak to the animals.
They speak back, but I don't exactly understand it.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, buddy, yeah.
I always do. All right. How do you pronounce
Preview?
this? Hagemo to Bordeaux. We are on the west coast of France. We're heading sort of north through the west coast, and we're going to go inland to the Massif Central. We have a sprint stage. Again, one category 4, so mark this in your diary. I don't think there's crosswinds. They go through like a forest region, so there's no crosswind. The intermediate sprint is before the Cat 4. The Cat 4 is like 40 k's from the finish, and it's going to be Baptiste Verstroffer in the breakaway, and it's going to be Tim Merlier win.
Oh, how did they copy the exact same profile as stage 5, by the way, and didn't clock it the second time either that no one would be in the...
Nah. We did the right thing.
Yes.
We went in the break yesterday. If it wasn't for us, the stage would have finished at 7:30 at night. Lotto saved this sport yesterday. They saved everybody. Yeah, if I'm Lotto, I'm not going to break. I got a message for Caja Rural.
I want your best mafia venue voice.
Nah, but you better be in that break. I'm telling you that for free. Thing is, the Rockets wouldn't be in the break, but they have Groenewegen, so it's legitimate.
Yeah.
But we gotta bring
I don't think it's legitimate.
What happened to the sport I love? What happened to the sport I love? That I have 3 French guys in a break vying for a contract on a team that might fold, and they're crashing each other, sprinting for a Cat 4 at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. That's what we want. That's what we was Tour de
Benjamin
France.
Thomas, and on the cobble sprint at the Tour de France.
That's Tour de France heritage. This is heritage. Okay? And tomorrow we're not going to have it.
I miss Nicolas Vaugondi and all those French guys, Pierrick Federico, going in the breakaway every fucking day of the week.
Yeah, sprint.
Where's my French mastery?
Yes. Sprint stage tomorrow. Yeah.
That was the point of Total. I'm sorry.
The thing, I agree with, they don't have a bunch sprinter.
Matteo Verchet should be in the breakaway every day of his life.
But Turgis is going for green jersey 3rd place. He should go in the What? He got it last year.
I got an aneurysm listening to that.
Hey.
He did last year, really?
Yeah.
I gotta give credit then.
It's
I wasn't familiar with your game, I'm sorry.
He was 9th yesterday.
Okay, I'm happy for him.
I'll tell you, Turgis is like...
Counter will get
Turgis
P3.
can't sprint, but he's like class at following in the wheels. He should go on the break for the IS. Who have you got? I got Tim Merlier because... Yeah, I just do.
I got Tim Merlier as well, because I don't know how Stuyven is after his crash. He looked like he was smiling over the finish line.
Was he?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think he'll be fine. Van Lerbergen DNF'd though.
Oh, no.
On today's stage 6?
Yes.
Big trouble. Big. Who's going to take care of Merlier?
And they didn't And they didn't even bring a lead out for him.
Jasper Stuyven is pretty good.
No, but... Merlier's being sold.
Jasper Philipsen doesn't seem fast enough at the intermediate sprints.
The Alpecin lead out's not moving me. Have you seen...
Every day that goes by, I'm more confident that Pedersen might actually win the green jersey.
Van der Poel seems off it.
Mate, I think he's melting.
He seems off it.
You know what?
He should be heat adapted. He literally goes outside and just stares. He stares directly at the sun for all day. He should be adapted. I
think the reason is, I think he's not used to having like a level of sunscreen on him, which he has now, and that's heating up him. I'm getting it. See, the aneurysm is there, heating him up even more. And I think that's the one small difference. I think the sunscreen is overheating him.
Yeah, they've said to him, Matthew, it's 40 degrees. We have to have sunscreen.
Maybe he's allergic.
I think there's a lot of gains. I'm not a performance scientist. I'm not an apparel engineer. I'm not a whatever. I think cycling, there's gains to be made from
dehydration. No. The less you drink, the more you'll want to go to the finish line faster.
Maybe Remco had to do that after the pee break, but the covering your skin with something that's aero and will cool you down to prevent the sun actually hitting your arms all day or your neck.
What do you call that? That smoky air sucked nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen. I think that's too hot or too
cold
even.
I mean.
No, I'm being serious. Like if you go Okay.
Yeah, but aren't you morphing your body then?
Have you ever seen a rice farmer?
No.
I'm not in the Tour de France. Like, no, I'm not talking about, when people drop too early. Like, I'm talking about.
What? I'm so confused.
Have you ever seen a rice farmer?
In a movie?
No, in real life.
No, because I've never gone to a rice farm.
But in the real heat and humidity, you should not let the sun. You cool down by not letting the sun touch your skin. Your feeling of your perception of the heat is less when you have a physical block to the sun. And
like a beekeeper suit.
Yeah, exactly. No, you've seen that. What do I wear when I go running? That is from speaking to when I went to Bali, like every Australian, university student, and I was running, and then I went running with Balinese people, and they're like, "Why you need to?" It has everything covered. And I think there's gains to be made, and it'll be more aero for the heat in the future. We need to start a company. We need to start aero, and it has inbuilt cooling on it. And you can have liquid nitrogen. I don't know. You can just put it in your backpack. Luke says we can't alter the jersey with liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, but you don't need to alter the jersey. You need to alter the human, which...
No. I'm saying you wear fully up, covered everywhere.
Yeah, but that's the aero sock again.
What do you mean? Why can't
the specialized aero sock.
Why can't you? Yeah, why can't you wear that?
Didn't it get banned?
Did it? Look, we always look at Luke.
Look at Luke.
Technical question.
Is the aero sock banned? He's thinking. He's like, the cogs in his head are turning about. They're not wearing it anymore. I think it's banned. Yeah, of course.
So, wait, cyclists can't wear the Cathy Freeman Olympic running suit.
The Catwoman Pierce, neither?
The Cathy Freeman suit. You know what I mean?
Can't.
You can't wear that.
Of course not.
Why not?
Because the clothing needs to be for
what do you mean? You're protecting yourself from the sun. Look, you can't wear that?
You're showing me something that the people on the podcast can't see.
I think you're allowed to wear that. And I think that...
Wear what? Explain it.
Oh, sorry. It's a full suit that Cathy Freeman wore when she won gold medal. And it's
like one of those suits that someone on a movie set in a green screen suit wears, but with a hole for their face.
Or Mrs. I just got cooked I just checked WhatsApp. I just got cooked by Mrs. Rouge.
What happened?
She's listening. She's put in our work group chat, by the way.
She said, who would you go to Bali?
She said, who'd you go to Bali with, Pat? Ex-girlfriend. All right.
I think tomorrow's podcast might be delayed. He might be in the hospital.
All right, we're done for the day. Thanks for listening as always. Tim Merlier gets back on track tomorrow. Probably Olaf Koy just wins again because everyone disrespects him. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See you then. Ciao, ciao.